Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS College Football Week 2, Kansas State, Tulane. Let's go.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, K-State's on the road at Tulane for this one. Looks like the 10s are gone. Line's pretty much sitting at 9.5. Tulane is home dogs here. Total sitting at 49.5 consensus across the board. Let's get into this one, and we'll start with the fact that these two teams just played 2 years ago, and Tulane got them outright. Final score was 17-10. Now, this was 2 years ago. Adrian Martinez was actually playing quarterback for Kansas State. Will Howard hadn't even taken over as the starter yet, so this is pretty much irrelevant, but thought it was worth mentioning. Now, we really didn't get a great look at either of these two teams last week. They both had relatively easy competition, but I think the main talking point for Kansas State is the new look on offense. Obviously, under Chris Kleiman, this has been an offense-first program. They have one of the best offenses in the Big 12, even up there with Texas and Oklahoma and the teams, well, the former Big 12 teams, I should say. But Kansas State, offensive juggernaut under Chris Kleiman. It's going to look a little different this year, as we've spoken about. There's a new OC. First of all, Colin Klein's gone. He's over at Texas A&M with Mike Elko. Connor Riley takes over as OC, but it's not just the fact that there's a new OC. The personnel is a little different than we're used to seeing. Just 4 returning starters on the offensive side for Kansas State. Avery Johnson takes over as quarterback, and he's very highly touted. They love him. They have very high hopes for this kid. Definitely more of an athlete than Will Howard. We'll have to see if he's as good of a thrower. I think they believe he is. Week 1 against UT Martin, 14 of 21, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, it was UT Martin. Hard to draw any sort of conclusions from a game like that. Look at the rushing numbers. Against UT Martin, 31 carries, 283 yards. They averaged 9.1 yards per carry as a team. Here's the thing. They're not going to be able to do that against Tulane on the road. I mean, this Kansas State offensive line, there's 4 starters gone from last year. So no question, we expect Kansas State to take a step backwards in that department, and Tulane is not UT Martin. In fact, Tulane had a really good run defense last year. 25th in yards per carry allowed, 41st in run defense success rate. They're ranked 34th in effective rush. Look at their defensive line metrics. I mean, this was the 24th ranked run defense according to Pro Football Focus. 60th in defensive line yards, 66th in stuff rate. Those don't look great, but no question, Tulane did a great job against the run last year, and they bring back a decent amount of production too. Just 96th in returning production overall, but they do bring back 15 starters, 7 of them on the defensive side. Here's the problem, and here's why I'm a little hesitant to just blindly trust this defense. Coaching staff's gone. Willie Fritz obviously takes the Houston job. He brings his DC with him. So we got Greg Gasparotto coaching the defense now. Like I said, personnel-wise, he should have the pieces to continue on from the good run defense we had there last year. But overall, I'm a little shaky to trust it. Either way, though, even with the uncertainty in the new coaching staff for Tulane, Kansas State, yeah, we may not have seen the 4 new offensive linemen show against UT Martin, but on the road at Tulane, I think we're going to notice it. I expect Kansas State to struggle a little bit offensively. But before we go and grab a Tulane plus 9.5 ticket, we got to take a look at the other side of the ball. And man, I got questions on this side as well. Again, new coaching staff, but not just that. I mean, there's all kinds of questions here. First of all, this offense couldn't run the ball last year. 69th in yards per carry, 109th in success rate, but that's not from lack of trying. They were 22nd in run frequency. So most of their play calling was designed to get the run game going. They weren't very good at it. The offensive line had some solid looking run blocking metrics. 49th in run block grade, 68th in offensive line yards, 22nd in stuff rate, but 3 starters are gone from that unit as well. So we just pointed out how 4 starters are gone from the Kansas State offensive line. Well, Tulane's offensive line lost 3 starters as well. And by the way, what's going on at quarterback here? I mean, Ty Thompson comes in from Oregon. Everyone expects him to be the starter. He loses the job to a freshman, Darian Mensah. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a ton about this kid. I don't. Looked pretty damn good in the opener. 10 of 12, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 91.8 QBR. But again, who did they play here? Southeast Louisiana. So just like the Kansas State 9.1 yards per carry, I really don't know what to make of these numbers either. I don't know if this kid won the starting job or if Ty Thompson lost the starting job, if you understand what I'm saying. You know what? If you're a Tulane fan and you follow it more closely than I do, Put it in the comments that what happened in this offseason. Why is Ty Thompson not the starter? Anyway, back to the matchup. So yeah, Tulane loses 3 starters on the offensive line. And this Kansas State defense, I just got done expressing my concerns with the Kansas State offense, the new look, new pieces in the offensive line. I actually like the Kansas State defense this year, and that's not something you usually say about a Chris Kleiman Kansas State team. 6 of the 7 starters in the Kansas State defensive front are back. 6 of the 7. And this really wasn't a terrible defense last year. They were 86th in yards per play allowed, which isn't great, but 19th in success rate, 35th in PPA. So I think this defense is going to be greatly improved. So as much as I'm uncertain about Avery Johnson and his hype, I'm uncertain about the Kansas State offensive line and the missing pieces. I do like the running backs, though. The defense, I like Kansas State's defense to take a big step forward here. And Tulane, with the uncertainty on their offensive side of the ball, I think Kansas State's going to give them problems as well. So overall, I think we're going to see some pretty good defense on both sides in this one, which would point me towards an under at 49.5. The reason I haven't bet it yet, and the reason I'm probably not going to bet it, is the pace. Kansas State 14th in pace of play last year. Yes, Colin Klein is gone, the OC, but Connor Riley takes over, who's been with the program. It's still a Chris Kleiman team, so I expect Kansas State to run a fast-paced offense again, just like it did last year. And on the other side, keep in mind, this Tulane coaching staff comes from Troy last year. Troy ran a pretty decent-paced football game themselves. They were 56th in pace. They also threw the ball a lot last year, which also points towards an over. So even though I think as far as the football matchup, offense versus defense, I like the matchup for both defenses, I think the way this football game is going to go, or the way it should go in my opinion, might point towards an over. So my pick for the game is an under, but I think there's too many avenues for that to get busted. So it'll be under or pass for me. I guess, gun to my head, I guess I'd lean towards Tulane plus the points, but I don't trust the offense enough. So under a pass for me. If you want to see all the bets I personally have open right now, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on open bets. It also comes with access to open bets from everyone on the staff, as well as you can participate in the weekly betting league. Starts Thursday, $150 and a trophy. Go to the winner every single week. So like I said, you got to have your picks submitted in the Discord by Thursday if you want to participate in that. Let's have ourselves a nice week 2. I personally didn't have a great week 1. So hopefully we bounce back week 2. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.